Hey!
Hey! Welcome back to the Citrus Club.
Episode 4. Look how far we've made it.
Wow, look at us.
Today we are talking about why do we accept the love or hate that we think we deserve.
That one, that's a big topic.
Yeah. It really is.
So
It's a hard
everybody,
one, I think.
If you're listening, put your listening ears on. If you're viewing, put both your listening ears on and don't view. Actually, if you're driving, don't pay too much attention.
Literally.
But
just
pay
enjoy,
enough-
just enjoy.
Just enjoy this, the blabber.
My little craft of the day for the club is that I am... Can you hear that?
Yes, that sounds like New York City.
And everyone, for the club today, I have brought my craft, which I've got a piece of sheet music, and this is very specific musical student of me, but I really like the decorations that people have when it's like sheet music, and then there's a drawing on it to match the sheet music. So I'm doing my favorite. I just can't wait to be king, and I'm going to try and draw Simba on it.
Simba.
And this will go in my room because I want more decorations.
Now, my little craft of the day is not quite as fancy, but I'm painting my fingernails. Now, it's fall, you say. Well, I only have 2 options. White or black, or both. Make gray.
Both. Make it a cow.
Okay. Oh, that's cute. I didn't think of that.
Hey.
That's smart. I don't know if I can do that, but I can try. We can get it. But it's really funny. Remember the Barbie movie? It's like, we've got jam and bread. And bread and jam.
If you're watching from home, go ahead, pick up a little craft. Let us know what you're working on.
Yes, what's our topic today?
So our topic today, why do we accept the love or the hate that we think we deserve? And that comes from the book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I believe the quote is, we accept the love we think we deserve. A very deep quote, really makes you stop and think.
There's many reasons if you want to get psychologically deep, but I think it's more important to think about it for your situation. Like, a lot of what we're going to say is going to be broad and kind of just could apply to anyone. So just take what we say and see what applies to you and leave what doesn't. A lot of times growing up, I think it stems a lot from how your parents talk to you and talk about themselves around you. Because, many, many, many women and many, many children and feminine presenting people grow up with mothers who talk badly about themselves. And then all of a sudden everyone around you is telling you you look like your parent that says that they don't like themselves. You know what I mean? So then that starts the stem. And it also starts and stems from, fatherhood. As a girl, at least, your father's the first man that you're ever going to love and is supposed to show you unconditional love. Well, if you don't have a great relationship with your father, immediately your concept of how you should be treated and loved is going to be warped. And a lot of times it comes also down to what we were talking about earlier, what you're familiar with. Generational trauma is talked about all the time, and, we're always talking about how to break the cycle and how we can do better, but nobody ever talks about, how hard that is, because you're going to be the first person in your entire family that is doing something different that you don't know the outcome to. Because many times, like anybody else, you accept what you know. So you're going to get into a relationship with someone or in a friendship who treats you a certain way because that's what you're used to being treated like. Yeah. And it's easier to, gear up for what you're used to and prepare to take the hit than to venture in the dark afraid of what might come back at you, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about when they're thinking about what type of love they actually accept, because it's true in all relationships. It's true in how you take romantic relationships, friendships, even just colleagues, business relationships. You could just allow yourself to be treated badly, even though it's your work environment, because you just think, what am I going to do about that? It's not on me. I'm just at work, so it doesn't matter. But you take that kind of thing home with you, and then it just hurts.
And also, people will tell you, friends will be like, oh, you deserve better, you deserve better. And that's true. Like, if they're telling you that, then you probably do deserve better than whatever situation you're dealing with. But you need to be the one to agree and tell yourself that you deserve better or you don't deserve something. Because no one at the end of the day can tell you what you deserve and what you don't deserve. Because, you know, it's situational each person. And if you're not going to be the one to do the work, no matter what, you're never going to see what they're telling you. This white is so see-through. My goodness, it's like marshmallow white.
It also comes from that we don't know ourselves. We're just accepting what we're given, and it's hard to kind of sit with yourself and think, well, maybe I don't deserve that. Maybe I deserve someone who's going to show up for me because I show up for other people. Mm-hmm. And it's hard, it's scary to say. There's that bit of fear where you're afraid to put yourself out there and get told no or get turned down. That looks great. The nails are coming together. Like, you're just scared to put yourself out there, and you just accept it because it's that fear that's almost eating away at you.
There was a quote, and I didn't bring it up because I didn't think of it until now, but when you grow up in a house that's on fire, you assume that the rest of the world is on fire too.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's the right quote. I may have remixed it a little bit. But, so when you grow up in an environment where you think, you know, every, you know, guy that emotionally is toxic loves me because that's how my father was, or that's how my past partner was, you know? Mm-hmm. And there are also people that, like, I think it's really important, especially in friendships, to honestly consistently fight for what you deserve in friendships, because that's one that is overlooked a lot. Like, everyone will always tell you, like, if you know a partner's treating you badly, all your friends are going to be the first person to be like, you deserve better, because it's such a different kind of, like, expectation and boundaries. But at the same time, like, you could be friends with someone for many, many years and they could treat you awfully. Doesn't mean you deserve that just because you've been friends for so long or they were nice to you at one point. You shouldn't surround yourself with people that are constantly putting you down, because then you're never going to grow or, you know, find yourself and who you want to be when you're constantly with people that see little of you or belittle you behind or in front of your back. I see him. Oh, I see what you were trying to do. Let me see the photo. Oh my goodness.
This is what I was going for.
It looks like his name is like Stefan. Oh, it's not Simba. That's Stefan. Oh, that's so funny.
Stefan's really trying his best. And you know what?
Stefan
I'm hoping it'll
to
come
Prince.
together.
Stefan.
I do think that's the hardest thing that people fall into, because we want to be accepted. That is, at our core, humans want to be accepted. We want to be loved. And so we settle for what is given to us because we think that we can't do better. We think that it's too hard to do better, or that if this person doesn't love me how I am, how is someone else going to love me as I am? Which is crazy. And I don't know how that mindset came about. I don't know if it was just the toxicity of social media, or if it's just how, again, you grow up watching this in your parents and their parents, and so you don't know how to move on from that, or if it's just something that happens in childhood where you have a close friend that treats you like this and says, no, I'm your best friend. All best friends treat people like this. And so then when you're 22, you just think, oh no, it's normal for a best friend to be mean. That's just normal.
Yeah. That, and also if you notice, like, I'll be honest, like, when I think back to, like, me at 16, I was probably, like, I was a better friend than some of the friends that I had, but I also had my own moments where I wasn't a great friend. Now, a lot of that was stress and family issues for me personally, but at the same time, that's not the excuse. It's that when I started to realize I deserved better from the friends that were around me and how they treated me and talked about me behind my back, is when I started to go through a lot of drama and a lot of friend dropping.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I put my foot down and started to have boundaries of, like, no, I don't appreciate the way you're treating me, or I don't appreciate, like, blah, 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 then when they get caught in the act, that's when you kind of have that moment of, like, I was right that I felt this way and wanted to do something about it, because their reaction gives me everything I need to know about why this isn't good for me. You know, like, the way people react when you put boundaries up says so much about them versus about you.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. Like, the amount of people that I've known that never thought would, like, have a reaction to putting a boundary up necessarily, and then they had a crazy reaction. It was kind of like, it's like the lights flip when you have like, tinted glasses on, especially when you're in a relationship. When you see that from an outside perspective, when you're trying to put your foot down or put a boundary up, and you realize, like, wow, they do not respect me as a person or as a partner or a friend. Because if they did, this is not how they would react.
And what's hard is that you have to have that reality check before, I wouldn't call it a reality check, but you have to have that moment to
like
actually realize, yes, the glasses have to be taken off for you to actively see, oh, this person has been hurting me and they don't even care.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that it's, just to be blunt for any listeners who might be going through this, you are not asking for too much. You are not asking for too much for someone to respect your boundaries. That is normal, that is human, and that is what you deserve as a living, breathing human being. You are not asking for too much, and if a person makes you feel like that, they are not worthy of your time or your life. And that's also, to flip that, being on the other side, you have to also be willing to have the conversation. If I were to come up to Ellie and say, hey, Ellie, I've just been experiencing this a little bit, like, can we talk about it? You also have to be open to having a conversation, because that also is you accepting that. And being a good friend in return. Because sometimes, you know, we are human, and you'll do things that you don't realize that you're doing, and just talking about it with a close friend can help you understand what's going on and help them feel better as well.
Yeah. I think in high school and, like, middle school, there's that disconnect of not realizing how easy it is to fix a problem or, like, an overthinking issue by just talking to that person. You know, because life gets busy, and sometimes we still all have anxiety about our friends. Like, I have friends where I'm like, dang, they must hate me. I haven't talked to them in so long. But then, like, we'll talk, and everything will seem fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, everybody has their own life, and it gets a lot harder to keep up with people. And it's like as simple as just being like, hey, can we talk for a minute? Like, is everything okay? Like, are we good? Whereas back in the day, I feel like we avoided that all the time. It was just like, oh my god, like, so-and-so hasn't talked to me. I think they hate me. Instead of actually just talking to that person and being like, hey, do you hate me?
Hey, what's going on? I think that's the interesting thing about being in our 20s and kind of going through that, because we're at a time in our lives where you have to put in the effort to have a friendship in this way, but things are getting so crazy and so busy that it's really hard. And so just being like, hey, I just want to check in, how are you doing, can go a long way, other than just avoiding it and kind of fading, you know?
Yeah. I'm really bad at keeping up with text messages, to be honest. Like,
I'm the same way.
I'm so bad at it. Like, I have been bad at it since probably the middle of high school, because I don't like having notifications on my phone, but when I get too many, I get overwhelmed and I ignore them. So, like, right now, like, I'm gonna, for the viewers, so I can be so real with you guys right now and prove them not lying, I have 246 unread messages.
Ellie.
And 80,000 mail.
Delete them! Let me delete them for you!
Please, I would pay you, because there's so much spam stuff and, like, things that I don't pay attention to.
Updates.
Update? Yes! Roar!
Roar! Roar, King, roar! But what you can't see is that I misdrew the legs, so I just didn't color them in. Because maybe you can't. Legs. He's got about six. He's got about 6 legs. Simba's really trying his best.
He's like in action.
But yeah.
Just that like little like
He is.
line that look like he's walking.
Yeah, he's moving. He's dancing.
When we're on the topic of accepting or not accepting the love or hate that we think we deserve, you know, once upon a time I was in therapy. Back in Orlando, Florida, I had my therapist tell me about something called the cherry blossom experiment. Now, you know, hold on to your saddles, everybody here, because it's a little bit sad. But it happened. I had no control over it. It had nothing to do with me. So, you know, rip the rats. But it was an experiment that involves training mice, not rats, my bad, to associate the smell of cherry blossoms with fear and then observing how that fear was passed down through generations. So, another random subtract conversation from that is like, sometimes if you ever have like an irrational fear, like, I mean irrational, like say you're super scared of like water, but you've never had like a near death or near drowning experience. If you have a relative in the past of like your generations who had some sort of very traumatic experience associated with water, whether they almost drowned or, you know, they were in a boating accident or their boat sank or something like that of the sort, that fear can literally be passed through your DNA. So basically what they did with this experiment is they trained male mice to fear the smell of cherry blossoms by zapping their feet with an electric shock every time they're exposed to the odor. So eventually, over time, those mice developed a fear response to the smell, even if they weren't being shocked. So the result is what they did is the fear-conditioned mice were bred with unconditioned female mice. So these mice never had this experience of the cherry blossom or the fear or anything like that. So then their offspring were more sensitive to the cherry blossom smell than the offspring of two parents that weren't experiencing the smell. And it shows that it proves evidence that memories and traits can be passed down through generations. And these traits can be inherited through epigenetic mechanisms. And it's basically like trauma. Trauma literally changes your genetic code. So like if you think about women in general right now, all the women in the world, but maybe just the US for now. That's a lot of women. We literally could not have our own bank accounts until like the 70s. Women are finally, we're in this new upcoming generation, in this last past generation, where women are breaking these cycles. Yeah. Women are, you know, the head of the household. They're, you know, the sole provider. They're stay-at-home wives, or the fathers are stay-at-home parents, you know, because they're breaking that trauma. Like, that is in our DNA. Like, anything with childbirth trauma, that is in your DNA. And what's cool about it, though, is, like, when people tell you to go to therapy and stuff, you can change your genetic makeup. Not obviously, like, the basis of your genetic makeup, but any of those mutations that were caused by trauma or, you know, generational trauma, you can be the one to fix that. So when people are telling you to literally break generational curses and generational trauma and cycles, you're literally changing your DNA for the future generation.
See, and that's so wild because it's something that is subconsciously happening and you don't know it until you kind of sit with yourself and acknowledge that. I think that comes a lot from like prayer and meditation too. Having quiet moments to yourself kind of opens up all these emotions that you didn't know you were experiencing because it was happening in your DNA and something that you can't control.
There is that aspect that you can't control, but there's also the part where being aware of it allows you that first step to change it, you know? Mm-hmm.
And I think knowing this, it almost allows you to be a little bit more easier on yourself and even more easier on your friends or the people that might be experiencing it, accepting love that they think they deserve, because we all have people that you watch from the outside and you're looking in and you're like, no, you kind of want to shake them and be like, you deserve so much better, and other people might be thinking that about you. But I think knowing this fact should give you some comfort that, well, things change over time. You just gotta be gentle. You have to be kind, and it kind of gives you that gives you that ability to acknowledge what's happening.
Advocating for your friends that may not know better. Mm-hmm. And it's so important to, like, be that stability for people, because sometimes, like, it is so hard to get out of that. And just knowing that you have, like, obviously you can't rely on people in certain aspects, like mental health wise and things like that, but having like a light in the dark, or like you have friends
Yes.
in other boats, a little further away, or with a life jacket just to help keep you afloat, can make the world of a difference between staying in a bad situation and leaving it, because you know you deserve better and you have support in finding what that better is.
And I think that should also encourage you to try and be that for other people. Be comforting to your friends. If you see someone going through a relationship that you think they don't deserve to be treated in that way, just being comforting to them and saying, hey, you know, I love you and I love everything about you and I am here for you if you ever need me. Not pushing it, not throwing your prerogative on them. Yeah. But just being gentle and saying, hey, I'm here for you, I love you, I support you, and being the friend for someone that you might have needed. And that also, I think, helps you kind of branch out and find those friends that support you because you are being that friend.
Exactly.
I don't know. In my mind, it almost gives a little bit more control to a situation where you feel out of control, is acknowledging it yourself and finding the people that you trust and that will actually be there for you through it.
Well, also in those moments, like, you kind of, like, if you go through a bad friend breakup, you know, to someone that may have meant so much to you and you thought was going to be around forever, you kind of break down your entire concept of, you know, do all of my friends treat me this way? Like, are all my friends think badly about me? Or, like, you know, does anyone really actually care about me? Like, and then having that reassurance, or just like that little gentle reminder, like, hey, like, I know we haven't talked in a while, but like, I hope you're doing okay. You know, or like, hey, if you ever need anything, like, know that I'm always here for you.
That's cutie!
I'm working on
That's
it.
so, I love that. It looks like a little cow nails. But rebuilding that for yourself, it's little blocks, little by little. You're telling yourself, no, I don't deserve to be treated this way. Yes, it hurts to have to end relationships and accept it. But not everything has to end. It comes to placing boundaries and finding people that respect you. Whew. Do you want to see mine? I think I'm done. I'm just gonna keep it behind if it's all the way out here.
That's so cute.
I just can't wait to be king.
I think it's cute. You should add more, like, color, like, little, like, patterns around it.
Yeah.
I think that would be cute.
Hi.
I'm trying to do my right hand now with my left hand, and that's something. That's really something. I know it's so cheesy. It's a lot of queso, but, it will pass. I think that's one of the most important things, is, like, it is so hard to see the bigger picture and see down the road, but, like, at the end of the day, do you want to be stuck with someone or be friends with someone for many, many years of some of the most fun, important, memorable years of your life, treating you badly, or making you feel less than you are, or making you feel bad for being who you are? Like, I had that thought about, and it's more geared toward relationships, but, like, yes, it is so hard to leave a long-term relationship. Like, I have never had to do it personally, but if I was with my partner, say, a few more years and we broke up, I would be devastated. I feel like my whole world would be turned upside down in some senses. Like, but at the end of the day, like, it will pass. You will find someone that treats you better and that you deserve, but you gotta get through it first. Like, you will get there to a point where you get what you deserve, but I'd rather go through the hard part and, like, be distraught and rebuild myself and what I think I deserve than be with someone that pushes me down so much to a point where I don't know who I am anymore. You know what I mean?
And you don't have to do it alone. You do not have to go through anything alone. Finding your support system, building that for yourself will make it easier, it'll lighten the load for you a little bit. And that's the hard thing, is just allowing yourself to do that. We're constantly evolving. You're going through new things. You're learning new things. Like, you don't have to feel bad that the information that you just learned kind of changes your opinion on someone, because it's just how life is. You gotta love yourself first before you can love other people. And I think truly loving yourself helps you accept better things for your life.
I want everybody who is listening, whether or not you think it's silly or not, I want you to sit down and evaluate all of the relationships in your life. Every single one of them. And I want you to sit there and be like, wow, could I be contributing more to the relationship? Could I be a better friend? Could I check in on them? Maybe I haven't heard from them in a while. Maybe I need to check in so that they think to check in on me, or maybe you have a friendship that's just kind of hanging by a thread and you've just been kind of ignoring the elephant in the room, but you're like, you know what, this is time for me to address it because I don't deserve to have it weighing on my conscience anymore. And like, you'd be surprised how many emotions we're going through all the time, but we're not paying attention to because we're an autopilot and we're only paying attention to like what is the most prominent in every moment of the day. And most of the time we don't even sit to really feel, like to sink in. Like the amount of times therapist is basically just telling you to like sit with yourself and reflect. Like they're just a mirror. Also nail status check. Do a little nail.
Love.
Love. I have one pinky left. But yeah, so I think at the end of the day, like, allowing yourself to take more deep moments to collect yourself and your emotions and what you're experiencing in the moment will also allow you to reflect on, like, do I deserve this? Do I deserve better? Do they deserve better? Am I the one being the bad friend? Like, am I the problem? But sometimes we are the problem, and the
it's
moment
me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
I'm sorry. I'm like afraid of her copyright.
Oh, never mind. Never mind, T Swift. Never mind. I was just kidding.
T Swizzle.
That is another thing. I think finding that mindset that you do have to sometimes give people the benefit of the doubt, where they might not be meaning to ignore you in that way. They're just either going through something or just busy. It's just life kind of happens, and it's not your fault, but it's also not their fault. So that's knowing yourself, checking in with yourself, and then checking in with your friend. And I think that's how we accept love we do deserve. Mm-hmm. That's how. There we go. Ellie, we made it. Ellie, we made it to the end. Ellie.
I feel like raw.
And that's how.
Actually, no.
And now let's... I'm rar.
And I'm male.
Rar.
Anyways, so
that's the Citrus Club.
I think the more that you reflect and take it all in, like sometimes you are the bad guy, and the moment you accept that, the sooner you can work on doing better.
And sometimes you're not the bad guy, and you deserve the world.
Mm-hmm. And even if you are the bad guy, you still deserve the world. You still deserve people that treat you right, just because you made a mistake. But what matters is if you fix that mistake and constantly work on bettering yourself, then you still deserve the nice things. But if you're not going to put in the work, how do you expect things to get better?
Exactly.
Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink it. That's the Citrus Club today. That was our little episode. We hope you guys
Thanks
enjoyed.
for joining us.
Thank you. I know it was a little deep. I think next week we'll maybe have a little lighter of a topic, depending on how we're feeling. But yeah, I got little cow nails now, which I've never done myself before, but it actually turned out pretty cute. And
I've got
music.
I tried my best. I think in time I would be better. But this is my little wall art for now. If you did anything at home along with us for this episode, post it, tag us, let us know.
Coming up to spooky season. It's coming up to spooky season. So, like, if there's any specific topics involving spooky season that y'all want to see, let us know. And also, if you got this far, we're always going to make you do this. So if you got this far and you see our most recent Instagram photo, you should comment. What do you want to use? What emoji?
I think a green heart. Oh.
I went a lion and a cow, and you went a green heart. Well, we could do, which would you prefer?
You know what? Pick one of the three. You have three options.
That is fun.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and comment below.
Oh, I can't do a thumbs up yet.
We've been the Citrus Club.
Lovely to have you. That was a squeeze. We'll see you next week.
Bye.